This is part 2, episode 96. Zhulu took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Do I need a reason to love? I love him, or at least I do now. Even if he doesn't want me, even if he abandons me, will this love disappear? What kind of shitty questions are you asking? Go to hell. The punishment that had struck Wufeng appeared once more. A light flashed, and Zhulu could not help but scream in pain. Dai Huabin struggled with all his might. At this moment, he felt an immense pain in his heart. This pain was so immense that the glowing image of the girl with the light blue hair in his mind appeared to have dimmed by quite a bit. Only in times of trouble will we realize who truly cares for us. Right now, he was able to see who he truly loved. In his mind, he screamed in a frenzy, "Don't hurt her, hit me instead. This pure love reveals the truth of your feelings. While you insulted me, I shall spare you on account of the truth of your feelings." You passed the first round, sincerity. The light faded, and Zhulu was returned to her bubble. However, it took a long time for her to steady her emotions. The spinning sliver of light appeared once more. This time, it stopped before it completed a full revolution. Its target was Wang Chua. The light around her cleared, and Wang Chua rose into the air. Her expression was icy cold. She had heard everything that Dai Huabin and Zhulu had said. However, she was not affected. She just could not understand the nature of this place. Do you have a lover? The same question was asked once more. No, Wang Chua said coldly. Have you loved someone before? The calm voice showed no sign of abating. Yes, Wang Chua replied coldly. Who is he? Hui Yuhao, Wang Chua replied. She had no need to hide her feelings. At this moment, Hui Yuhao was instantly able to hear her voice. Chua, Hui Yuhao thought in his heart, as the exchange between Wang Chua and the calm voice rang out next to his ears. When she said that she loved him, Hui Yuhao could not help but smile bitterly in disappointment. Chua, look at me, how can you? Does he love you? The calm voice continued. Wang Chua said, no. And you still love him? Yes, Wang Chua replied. She replied to the questions lazily, and her answers mostly consisted of single words. Just now, Dai Huabin said that he loved you. What thoughts do you have? None. If you were given a choice once more, would you still choose Hui Yuhao? The calm voice asked. Yes, replied Wang Chua. Her voice started to falter. Wang Chua inhaled and said, well, I hate how he doesn't reciprocate my feelings. I like the feeling of being in love with him. Love has made me different. If he were to face mortal danger one day, would you sacrifice your life for him? Wang Chua replied calmly, I've already tried, and hence I can tell you confidently that I would. Hui Yuhao listened quietly. He was not shocked by Wang Chua's responses until the very last bit. She tried. What did she try? She tried to die for me. When? Why don't I know about it? At this moment, the shock Hui Yuhao was feeling was hard to imagine. He seemed paralyzed. Are you willing to die now so that he can live? The calm voice did not give up. Wang Chua appeared to be mocking the voice as she said, bring it on. Her reply was very fast and very resolute. However, these 3 words were able to render Hui Yuhao breathless. Chua, she. Time appeared to stop for a long while. Then the voice rang out once more. I don't like your tone, but I respect your steadfast nature. You passed the first round, sincerity. Wang Chua descended, and was sealed once more. The golden sliver of light spun once more and instantly, it landed on Hui Yuhao. The light cleared, and he rose into the air. He could finally see the outside world. However, this did not give him any solace or reassurance. He was still deeply shocked by what Wang Chua had said just now. Do you have a lover? The calm voice asked coldly. I do, Hui Yuhao replied instantly. Who is she? Wang Donga, Hui Yuhao said as he took a deep breath to calm himself. Instantly, Wang Donga could hear his voice. Even though she already knew the answer, Wang Donga felt her heart melting when Hui Yuhao said that he loved her. Is she the one you love the most? The calm voice pressed. Yes, Hui Yuhao replied without any hesitation. Just now, Wang Chua said that she loved you. You should have heard it. What do you think? Hui Yuhao trailed off with a bitter smile on his face. I don't know. Chua is a good girl. If I hadn't already met Donga, I may have fallen in love with her. However, my heart is completely filled with Donga now. So you didn't leave any space in your heart for Wang Chua? Do you dare to say that you have never considered her as an option? The calm voice asked as its tone turned audibly harsh. Hui Yuhao was stunned. I admit, I did consider her before, because she resembled Wang Donga perfectly. However, the reason I considered her then was because I loved Donga. Hence, I can only apologize to Chua. While Wang Chua understood Hui Yuhao's determination, she still felt her heart turn icy-cold when she heard him say those words. If you could start all over again, with Wang Chua and Wang Donga appearing in front of you at the same time, who would you love? The voice asked. It showed no sign of abating. Hui Yuhao paused and said, I don't know, because there's no possibility of that happening. The golden sliver started to move once more, until it stopped at Wang Donga, who was not very far away from Hui Yuhao. The light cleared, and Donga rose into the air. Do you have a lover? Yes, Donga replied with a slight smile. She suddenly thought that this place was rather decent. At least to Hui Yuhao and her, it was a rather stress-free place. Just speak the truth. Since this is the yin-yang love querying valley, let it query me. Who is he? Hui Yuhao. Is he the one you love the most? Yes. You should have heard the exchange just now. Another person said that she loves him deeply and is willing to die for him. That person is Wang Chua. Did you know that? I knew, Wang Donga replied without any hesitation. So what thoughts do you have? The voice asked. Wang Donga said, I don't have any thoughts on that. In fact, I once tried to matchmake the two of them. Why? The calm voice was not the only one who wanted to know the answer to that question. Hui Yuhao, who had just calmed down himself, wanted to know too. Wang Donga said, Chua deserved it. Love can't be shared, and naturally, I don't want to share it. However, ever since I started to interact with Chua, I can sense her love for Hui Yuhao. While I want him for myself, I can't bear to see her in so much pain. Aren't you scared of competition? The voice asked pressingly. Wang Chua said, No, I'm not afraid. I trust that Hui Yuhao's love for me won't change. In fact, both he and Chua rejected my proposal. Chua said that she wasn't willing to take this gift, and Yuhao said that his heart only had me in it. When she said the final bit, her voice brimmed with pride. Then, she added, if you want to ask if I'm willing to die for Hui Yuhao, I will say yes. However, sometimes, those who are alive have it worse than those who are dead. If I die, he'd be devastated. I'm willing to die for him, but I don't want to see him in so much pain. If we can grow old and die together, I'd be willing to let him die first. Then, I can be with him until the last moment of his life. He can leave his world under my care, and then I'll follow him. I'm willing to face the cold inevitability of death alone, but I don't want him to do so. The calm voice sighed and said, You have it all planned out. Do you have any more questions? Wang Donga asked with a smile. You've already answered all of them, so what's left for me to ask? You passed the first round. No one knew why, but when Hui Yuhao, Wang Donga, and Wang Chua heard this calm voice, they all realized that it sounded sorry. The golden sliver spun, and this time, it did not stop instantly. It appeared to have been affected by Hui Yuhao, Wang Chua, and Wang Donga. This time, it spun for a very long while. After a long time, the golden light finally stopped. This time, it paused on Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao rose into the air. Do you have a lover? It was the same question again. Yes, Xiao Xiao replied, blushing. Who is he? He Kaitu, Xiao Xiao replied in a low voice. Among all the people here, she was the shyest. Is he the one you love the most? Yes, Xiao Xiao replied softly. If only one of you could leave this place alive, would it be you, or him? The calm voice asked coldly. Xiao Xiao was stunned. Can we both not die? I'm still young. I haven't married anyone yet. She burst out into tears. He Kaitu could hear her now. When he heard her crying, an odd expression crossed his face. One of you must die. It's either you or him. Answer me. If you don't answer me, both of you will die. You have the right to choose. If you let him die, you may live, the voice said calmly. Xiao Xiao choked, and her petite face turned white. To her, the terror of death was not something she could deal with easily. The voice seemed pleased that it had finally found someone who was afraid of death. It did not prompt her. Then, I'll die. But after I die, can you let Kaitu tell my father and mother, and then get him to take care of them for me? While he may be ugly, he's a nice person. I think my parents will like him. It was difficult, but Xiao Xiao still made her decision. We can only live once. Will you really choose death? The calm voice asked once more. Xiao Xiao said, I don't want to die. However, I don't want Kaitu to die. If I see him die, I might be more afraid. I'd rather die myself. Isn't it said that once you die, there's nothing to worry about anymore? Can you let me have a quick death? I'm scared of pain. You pass the first round. The voice did not want to speak with Xiao Xiao anymore. The light faded, and Xiao Xiao dropped back down, and was enveloped by her light bubble. The sliver flashed, and Hikaitu immediately rose into the air. Do you have a lover? Yes. Who is she? Xiao Xiao, Hikaitu replied resolutely. Is she the one who you love the most? Yes. Between the two of you, if only one of you could live, who would you want it to be? The questions were highly similar. However, for everyone, it was a question of life and death. At this point, one had to know that Hikaitu did not know that Xiao Xiao had passed her round. He only heard her say that she was willing to die for him, and that she wanted him to take care of her family. At this moment, Xiao Xiao listened intently. She had absolute faith in Hikaitu's love for her. Since they had gotten together, he had protected her and taken care of her, as if she were a tiny flower in a greenhouse. His deep love for her had made her forget her initial dissatisfaction with his appearance. I'd choose to live, Hikaitu answered after a long silence. The moment he said that, Xiao Xiao's eyes opened wide in shock. Instantly, her beautiful eyes started to water. I'm so scared of death, but I still chose death for you. Kaitu, who is normally so honest, and who loves me so much, actually, Hikaitu's lips were pursed tightly together. Even his voice was different from normal. He spoke with a magnetic and enthralling voice. Xiao Xiao's eyes watered. Finally, big, fat tears trickled down her face. At this moment, there was no coldness or despair in her eyes, only intense, red-hot emotions. Hikaitu's body was stiff. He did not know if Xiao Xiao could hear his voice. He also did not know if Xiao Xiao would forgive him. However, he spoke the truth as it was, without keeping anything to himself. Sincerity and truth. Love at its highest and most passionate level. You pass the first round, sincerity, and you are exempted from the second round. Xiao Xiao is also exempted from the second round. Hikaitu was lowered gently and returned to his original spot. At this moment, hot tears streamed down his face. He had never cared about the exemption. He was just scared that Xiao Xiao, his beloved Xiao Xiao, would leave him. At this moment, among everyone who stood around this mysterious wheel, 11 of them had already been chosen. Thanks to Hu Yuhao's reminder, none of them was severely punished. Only Wu Feng and Zhu Lu were whipped because they were discourteous, but it was not severe. Only 2 people were left, Shu Sansha and Jiang Nan Nan. The golden sliver spun, and it stopped on Jiang Nan Nan. The light cleared, and she rose into the air. As she was one of the last to be selected, she did not look well. She had been trapped for a long time, and did not know what was happening outside. This loneliness was terrifying. At least there was light. The faint golden light made everything less scary. Do you have a lover? The calm voice asked. Jiang Nan jumped, but she reacted quickly. Yes, I do. Who? Shu Sansha. Is he the one you love the most? Yes. Between the two of you, if only one of you could live, who would you want it to be? Jiang Nan Nan received the same question. Her stunningly pretty face paled. However, thanks to Hu Yuhao's reminder, she knew that she could not lie. However, she did not know if Shu Sansha could hear her voice. I hope I could live, Jiang Nan Nan said with much difficulty. Reason? I want to take care of my mother. If I die, there will be no one to take care of my mother. If no one takes care of her, she'll die. My mother and I have relied on each other since I was young. I'm willing to do anything for my mother. I love Sansha, but I love my mother more. If I had to choose one, I'd choose to live for my mother. I'd take no new lover, and after my mother passes away, I'll look for him in death. When Jiang Nan Nan said this, She did not hesitate too much. She did not say it with much emotion. Instead, she recounted it as if it were a fact. Clearly, her mother was the most important thing to her. Romantic love and familial love. So, you think familial love is more important? How can you face Shusansha? Jiang Nan smiled bitterly and said, without my mother, I wouldn't exist. I can't face Sansha, but I'll atone for it in my next life. Instead, I want to ask you why you are so intent on tearing us apart. Why is it that only one of us can live? I don't know who you are, but it serves no other purpose than to cause us pain. Why don't you kill us both? If we both die, my mother will die too, and we can be reunited in the next world. You pass the first round, sincerity, said the calm voice. It had no other questions for her, and it appeared slightly flustered as it made that announcement. Perhaps this voice was triggered by Jiang Nanan's attitude, but it whipped Shusansha thrice. Shusansha wailed in pain. This pain was unbearable, and it was impossible not to cry out. Jiang Nanan could hear him and panicked, but there was nothing she could do. She could only curse silently. You idiot, why are you resisting something you can't fight? Do you have a lover? The calm voice asked coldly once it was done. Yes, Shusansha replied. Perhaps it was because of the punishment, but Shusansha was now much more well-behaved, albeit drained. Who? Jiang Nan. Is she the one you love the most? Yes. If only one of you could live, and you had the option to choose who lived, who would it be? Huh. I'll die. Shusansha said tiredly. The 3 strokes of the whip had come down hard. His entire body was twitching in agony. Just now, Jiang Nan chose you to die. Don't you want to be like her, and stay alive to take care of your parents? Shusansha said in an unpleasant tone, my situation is different from hers. Her and her mother rely on each other. While I have parents, I also have siblings who can take care of them. Yes, I will have wronged them by doing so. However, they never really liked me to begin with. I believe that if I die, it won't bother them too much. You're willing to sacrifice yourself for love, but you aren't filial to your parents. You will only be allowed to pass the first round with 10 lashes. Crack, crack, crack. Ah. Cries of pain rose in the air. Shusansha was in so much pain that he could not help but cry out non-stop. However, he had no way of resisting it. At this moment, the bubbles around everyone turned transparent. Everyone could see once more. They all looked at Shusansha, who was being whipped in the air. They might not be able to hear, but they could see his pained expression. The eternal defense, Shusansha, was in such a pitiful state right now. What defense was there to speak of? After 10 strokes of the whip, Shusansha fell back to the ground. His entire body lay there unmoving. He could not even raise a single finger. However, weirdly, the 10 strokes of the whip did not leave a single mark on him. The first round, sincerity, is over. The second round, adventure, shall now begin. All those who are exempted may progress straight into the third round. 3 rays of light shone simultaneously. Zhong Lishuan, He Kai-tu, and Xiao Xiao disappeared. There were now only 10 people left out of the original 13. However, their surroundings started to change. Everyone could sense a powerful killing intent. The wheel on the ground started to change. 10 boxes appeared on the wheel. However, each box had a different insignia. Each of the 10 insignias was different, but they were not hard to identify. For example, one of them looked like a sword, which should have something to do with fighting. Another one looked like a pair of human lips. There were also other insignias. Some took a bit longer to identify. The plain voice sounded in their ears, the second round, adventure, shall begin. You have all progressed to the second round. After this round starts, the light underneath your feet will shine and the wheel will spin. Depending on what box the light stops at, you will have to fulfill the corresponding task. If you can't do that, you will then progress to the next round, deep adventure, which has a possibility of mortal danger. If you still can't pass that, you will die. After your task has been revealed, you have a chance to go straight to the deep adventure round. It will start now, beginning with Shusansha. The wheel started to spin once again. Shusansha listened to all this in shock. The others heard it too. Instantly, all the girls except Jiang Nan turned pale. Shusansha was stunned too. Then, a look of joy flashed across his eyes. This was mandatory kissing. Other than him, most of the remaining 9 were girls. Only Hu Yuhao, Bei Bei, and Dai Huobin were guys. This meant that there was a 66% chance of a girl being chosen. They're all beauties. Regardless of which one is chosen. There's no need to force her, right? After all, we're all trying to live. Shu Sanxi's mood changed, and he forced himself to stand up as he stared at the spinning wheel. This time, the wheel returned to the spinning gold light of the first round. The golden light flashed quickly, and then slowed until it seemed to be on the verge of stopping. Shu Sanxia opened his eyes wide. In his heart, he prayed, let it be a girl, anyone will do. Even though they say we should not go after our friends' wives, this is a matter of life and death. They will understand. The light finally stopped. The moment it stopped, Shu Sanxi's eyes almost popped out of his head. You're fucking with me, he cried out unhappily. When the golden light stopped, it landed on the unlikely 33%. It stopped at Bei Bei. Target has been chosen. Your time starts now. The 2 rays of light shone together. Shu Sanxia and Bei Bei appeared at the center of the round platform, and a golden hourglass appeared in mid-air. Fine, golden granules of sand started to trickle down. Bei Bei was also shocked by the fact that he had been chosen. The 2 of them looked at each other. At that moment, neither of them knew what to say. Shu Sanxia screamed into the air, does seeing me fucked makes you happy? Why is it Bei Bei? Why is it him? He really wanted to scream, I choose the deep adventure round. However, the 10 strokes of the whip had left a deep impression on his mind. Shu Sanxia could tell that this mysterious existence would not be kind to him. If he chose that, he would be faced with death. The existence evidently did not like him. I just have to kiss him for 3 minutes, and I will pass this round. This is better than death. However, we have to do it in front of so many people, including Jiang Nan. At this moment, Shu Sanxia instantly felt that he was in a really painful spot. Bei Bei, Shu Sanxia said with much difficulty, as he licked his lips. Bei Bei jumped like a cat whose tail had been stepped on as he said, don't even think about it. Do you think I want to? Shu Sanxia said angrily, I don't. However, I want to live, you know that. Do you want us all to die here? Finally, Shu Sanxia stood in front of Bei Bei. The 2 of them were of similar heights. There was no need to trouble either party. However, when they were only inches apart, Shu Sanxi's footsteps stopped. These aren't sausages. Here I come. Shu Sanxia said. Bei Bei kept his eyes closed and said angrily, hurry up, pighead. Shu Sanxia gritted his teeth and closed his eyes. Then, he lunged forward. Bluff, when Bei Bei felt something touch his lips, however, he could not hold it in anymore. Everything he ate in the morning spewed out of his stomach. Bluff. Shu Sanxia had lowered his head slightly, and so his nose had hit Bei Bei's lips. But at this moment, vomit was splashed all over his face. His initial determination fell apart. He started to puke furiously too, as he vomited all over Bei Bei. This task, which had seemed easy to complete, turned into a nightmare for Bei Bei and Shu Sanxia. Both of them puked all over themselves. For contaminating the valley, you shall both be moved to the deep adventure round. The golden light flashed and cleaned all of their vomit up instantly. This scene before everyone tugged at their hearts. What nonsense is this? The one who was the most shocked was Jiang Nan. She was both worried and slightly tickled by it. In her heart, she was rather delighted, too. If that rascal really did that with Bei Bei. However, what does deep adventure entail? There's a 50% mortality rate. Then, she thought about how Bei Bei and Shu Sanxia had trained together all these years. Their coordination was superb. One of them attacked, while the other defended. They should be able to make it. Just as countless thoughts flitted through Jiang Nanan's mind, the wheel started to spin once again. As they all stared at the weird symbols on the wheel, everyone wore an ugly expression on their faces. They prayed that for their adventure round, the task would not be too perverted. Everyone's breathing started to become more and more tense. As they stared intently at the spinning wheel, they all knew that they could be next. A ray of golden light shone. This time, it lit up underneath Jiang Nanan's feet. This meant that she was up next. She had still not gotten over her shock at Bei Bei and Shu Sanxi's predicament. Instantly, the color drained from her face as she stared at the wheel in shock. The wheel started to slow down. A different symbol appeared in front of Jiang Nan Nan. This symbol looked weird. There were 3 fists on it, one of which was larger than the other 2. You have to defeat 2 other randomly chosen opponents. If you beat them, you pass. If you lose, you'll enter the deep adventure round. If your opponents win, their tasks shall still be decided by the wheel, but their difficulty level will be reduced. If your opponents lose, their task shall still be decided by the wheel, but their difficulty level will be increased. The wheel turned golden. This time, 2 rays of light started to spin rapidly. 1 versus 2. While this adventure was not as perverted as Shusanshi's, it was still extremely difficult. Among everyone here, who was weak. Furthermore, everyone in the Tang sect had good ties with each other. How could she possibly fight them? The 2 rays of light stopped. When she saw where they stopped, Jiang Nan Nan sighed in relief. This was the best possible outcome. The 2 rays of light stopped at Ning Qian and Wu Feng, the odd couple. They flashed, and then the 2 of them entered the arena. The 3 women in the arena faced off against each other. Wu Feng and Ning Qian exchanged gazes. Both of them had an odd look in their eyes. Jiang Nan Nan did not know what they had experienced in the first round. Neither did she know that they had feelings for one another. However, Jiang Nan Nan had no psychological baggage fighting them. This place was like a round stage. While it was big relative to the wheel, it was not big enough for soul masters to fight. 5 soul rings rose simultaneously from underneath Jiang Nannan's feet. At the same time, her 2nd and 3rd soul rings lit up. Wu Feng and Ning Qian felt themselves getting heavy, and only then did they realize that something was amiss. They recovered quickly from their awkwardness, just in time to see Jiang Nan Nan appear suddenly behind Ning Qian, and reach out to grab Ning Qian's shoulder. This was Jiang Nannan's 2nd soul skill, gravity control, and her 3rd soul skill, instant teleportation. While Ning Qian was an auxiliary type soul master, she placed a great emphasis on protecting herself, because she had no way of fighting someone directly. A layer of light suddenly shone from her body. This was a class 5 protective soul barrier. At the same time, she moved her body forward, and a shuttle-type soul tool appeared underneath her feet, propelling her forward and away. However, while she took defensive steps, how could Jiang Nan Nan not have made offensive preparations? As a close combat soul master, Jiang Nannan's fighting style and techniques could only be unleashed when she was close to her opponent. The appearance of soul tools was able to check her battling style. Hence, as one of Shrek's 7 monsters, Jiang Nan Nan had made a special request to the academy for a set of close combat soul tools. In the tournament earlier, she did not have many chances to fight. Furthermore, as they faced extremely powerful opponents in the group round, she was unable to use her close combat soul tools. Now, however, she got her chance. 2 silver rings started to shine on both her middle fingers. A set of silver gloves appeared on her long arms. A silver, suction cup-shaped pattern appeared on the palms of her gloves. The suction cup patterns instantly released rays of light that violently drew Ning Qian's soul barrier towards them. She had no chance of escaping. Not only that, but 5 sharp knives also sprang out of the fingertips of Jiang Nannan's gloves. Like a hot knife cutting through butter, they slashed through the protective soul barrier, and went straight for Ning Qian's shoulder. However, they were not mortal enemies. They were all from Shrek Academy, and the moment Jiang Nannan's hands touched Ning Qian's shoulders, she retracted the knives immediately. All she did was squeeze Qian's shoulder with her palm. All of Jiang Nannan's soul skills were meant for close combat. If one thought that she was weak, they would be deeply mistaken. The moment she got close to a target whose strength did not surpass hers, the fight was over. Ning Qian lost all feeling in her shoulder after Jiang Nan Nan grabbed it. Her entire body felt weak, as if her blood vessels had been sealed. It became more difficult to circulate soul power through her body. The protective soul barrier that Jiang Nan Nan had broken though disappeared. She felt the world around her swirl as Jiang Nan Nan picked her up. This all happened in an instant. By the time Wu Feng rushed over, Jiang Nan Nan had already lifted Ning Qian off the ground. An angry dragon roar could be heard. Wu Feng's entire body blazed with a fiery light, and fiery red dragon scales appeared on her. By lifting Ning Qian, Jiang Nan Nan knew that she was completely exposed in front of Wu Feng. Wu Feng did not lack fighting experience. She reached forward with her dragon claws, and her 4th soul ring started to shine. To save Ning Qian, she used her most powerful soul skill. Wu Feng's body disappeared. The fiery red light turned into the shape of a huge dragon that bounded into the air, barreling straight toward Jiang Nan Nan. This was her fourth soul skill, dragon flight. However, Jiang Nanan's fourth soul ring started to shine too. As a layer of golden light flashed, Wufeng landed a direct hit on her. Bang! Boom! Jiang Nan Nan threw Ning Qian down onto the ground ferociously, instantly dazing her. When her body touched the ground, Ning Qian finally realized how terrifying Jiang Nan Nan was. She felt her body was almost tenfold heavier. When Jiang Nan Nan let go, a suffocating power came from her hands, causing her soul power to dissipate. Just like that, she crashed hard against the ground. Even though Ning Qian wore a protective layer of soft armor, such a hard landing knocked her out cold. Her entire body felt like a fragile, collapsing structure. The boom afterward came from Wufeng crashing into Jiang Nan Nan. With her fourth soul skill, Invincible Golden Body, Jiang Nan Nan was unscathed. Wufeng, however, was bounced away. Jiang Nan Nan smiled. Having taken care of Ning Qian, she became more confident. Without the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda's augmentation, Wufeng was no match for her alone. Her small frame flashed, and Jiang Nan Nan rushed toward Wufeng, who had taken up her human form again. From an outsider's perspective, Jiang Nan Nan was the weak link among Shrek's 7 monsters. However, when they actually faced her, both Wufeng and Ning Qian finally realized how terrifying this beauty could be. Her jade-like legs suddenly increased in strength. Instantly, Jiang Nanan's speed reached Wang Qiu's level. However, her body was much more flexible. She was not as violent as Wang Qiu. Over such a short distance, Wufeng was unable to see Jiang Nan Nan clearly after she increased her speed. Jiang Nan Nan was right on top of her almost instantly. Wufeng grunted, and the second and third soul rings on her body lit up. Dragon Fury, Dragon Burst. An intense red light shone from Wufeng's body. Everything within a 1.5-meter radius appeared to have exploded. Jiang Nanan's body suddenly stopped 3 meters in front of Wufeng. This sudden stop, which went against all physics, was just enough to let her dodge Wufeng's burst. Not only that, but Jiang Nanan's hands turned as bright and spotless as jade. This was one of the Tang sect's secret techniques, mysterious jade hands. Hui Yuhao had mastered the purple demon eyes better than anyone else. However, Jiang Nan Nan, who specialized in close combat, had spent a lot of time effort refining the mysterious jade hands. Jade-colored light swirled, and Jiang Nan Nan reached out with her hands before separating them. At the same time, the power of Dragon Burst reached its peak. Dragon Fury still blazed, but as Jiang Nan Nan pushed with her hands, this intense heat was forcibly and quickly parted. Tang Sect's secret technique, controlling crane capturing dragon. Jiang Nan Nan body twisted to the side, and just like that, she was able to move toward Wufeng in this odd fashion. The tips of her toes lightly touched the ground, and her entire body charged toward Wufeng in this weird position. Wufeng was not afraid. Her first soul ring lit up, and dragon fire rose. Her dragon claws slashed toward Jiang Nan Nan. She did not believe that with her martial soul, a fire dragon, she would fare worse than Jiang Nan Nan in a head-on clash. They were both 5-ringed soul kings. Even though her soul power might be stronger, how much stronger could it be? Indeed, in terms of the strength of their martial souls, Jiang Nan Nan did not surpass Wufeng by that much. However, her fighting style was the perfect counter to Wufeng. As her martial soul was a fire dragon, her fighting style focused on maintaining a medium to close range with her opponent. In a wide enough arena, she would be able to demonstrate her mid-range fighting style to the best of her abilities. There, it would be difficult for Jiang Nan Nan to win. However, this arena was way too small. This was an advantage for those who fought at close range. At this close range, Jiang Nan Nan had an absolute advantage. Jiang Nanan's response to Wufeng's dragon claws completely shocked the latter. Her body fell forward swiftly, something most people could not do. However, Jiang Nan Nan pulled this feat off with her control over gravity. Her judgment was perfect, and just like that, Wufeng's dragon claws slashed nothing but thin air, passing over her body. Part 2 end here.